Hello and welcome. My name is Mary Stern. I'm a physiotherapist. I work here out of my clinic in Blue Ridge Physio and Wellness in North Vancouver, and I also work out of Trinity in Burnaby. I am going to go over how to do a pain-free squat and a squat that will keep you pain-free. So I do have a lot of people that will come into the clinic with various conditions, and one of the issues that they might have with these conditions, whether that's back, SI joint, or knee pain, is that doing a squat, leaning forward, doing anything of that nature can be painful. So I'm going to talk about ways to avoid that pain and how that is. Now, this won't be specifically oriented to whatever it is that is causing pain for you, so don't have this replace a consultation with a physiotherapist. However, I hope this gives you insight and something to build from in your rehab. So let's begin. So when we do a squat, it's important to begin by thinking about alignment here. So especially if you're coming in with some back pain, I'm going to be asking you to do a squat and looking at what happens through your back. Quite often, when people do a squat, they overuse the muscles of their back, arching deeply through the lumbar spine. And then as a result, the back gets painful because we're overusing the muscles that you're probably using already through your posture. And you're also compressing the joints and then the nerves that come through those joints in your spine. So if I see this, then we're going to work on finding neutral through that lower spine. So how do we do this? Now, if you can, in standing, as you come into your squat, do a pelvic tilt. So tucking the pelvis under. I talk about bringing your pubic bone towards your belly button, going the opposite direction, finding somewhere in the middle that feels like there's some sense of ease. So if you can find that, and if you can do that, that is perfect. That is what I want you to find. And once you do find that, I would then ask you to put some weight into your heels. Now, as you put some weight into your heels, you may or may not notice that the muscles of your bum, so the back, the glute max, and to the side, the glute med, they start to fire a little bit. You might start to feel a little bit of tension in those muscles. So I want you to try to do that now. So putting some weight in through your heels and then squeezing your bum a little to find that. Keep this neutral. Now I want you to think about letting your bum go down without changing the position of your spine. So that is going to be a practice that you might need a mirror for. Because what will happen is as you hinge and extend back through your bum, your spine is going to want to do this. So if that's the case for you, I'll go over another orientation of the spine that can be common as well. So think about pushing in through your heels to come up. So this squat, I'm not recommending for everybody at all times, but I am recommending you try it in this way if you're having pain getting up from sitting to standing or leaning forward. And rather than leaning forward to pick something up from the floor, whether it's your toddler's toys or anything that you're trying to garden, whatever that is for you, I'm going to recommend that you do this squat. Now, as a result of doing this squat, you're going to feel a really nice burn through your bum, which is wonderful. And that burn, if it sort of transpires that feels like pain the next day, then that is wonderful. I want you to celebrate because that means that your muscles are hypertrophying, they're getting stronger, you're building. And so what you're going to notice as you come into this squat too is that you may not be comfortable bringing your chest as far forward as you need to avoid arching up like this. So I want you to trust where you are in space, and if needed, use a chair, because you might find that your heels, your toes come off, for example, and you have trouble balancing. Now look at your toes right now. Bring your toes all the way up, spread them out if you can, if you're so inclined, and then put them back on the mat. And as you do that, you'll feel a nice base of support. Now, can you go deeper in the squat? Absolutely. So going in deeper in the squat, I want you to notice the position of my knees. So my feet are almost directly under my knees. They're just a little bit back. Let's see if I can find this for you in the camera. So my feet there, you can see their relative position. So we talked about back pain, but if you are someone who's coming to me with knee pain, then this squat will also be what I give you, because ultimately the position of your knee and how much your glutes are engaged, your bum is engaged, can really impact and alleviate pain through your knees. So what do I mean by that? If you're coming into a squat, which a lot of people do, and your knees are coming forward, then what you're doing is really loading those knee joints. And if you have pain there already, that can cause more pain. So I want you to think instead about reaching your bum back, keeping the knees relatively over the feet. And in that way, the strength that you'll gain through these muscles will offload the knees. So you're gonna start to feel much better. Hopefully much better. You can start to translate this kind of squat to how you go up the stairs. So again, thinking of not bringing your knees in front of your ankle as you go up the stairs, and also having some engagement through your glutes, through your bum as you go up the stairs. Another thing to pay attention in your squat, and I want you to have a look at me from the front, is what's your belly doing? So for some people, the belly likes to hang out and there'll be a corresponding arch in the back. So if that's the case, I don't want you to squeeze your belly in, but I want you to notice that when you go from relaxed belly, arch back, and then just subtly change the position into neutral, the core will automatically engage. So that's like a bonus for you. You don't have to work so hard with that alignment, so you can play with that too. Now, yes, I'm spending quite a bit of time here, and what you want to do is find that 10-second sweet spot where you feel a lot of muscle engagement, where you feel like, whew, I'm feeling the burn, but there's no pain in your back, no pain through these SI joints, which I'll talk about now, no pain through the knees. So the next thing that I'm going to talk about that people come to me with and complain of is pain through the joints of the pelvis here. So we have sacrum, which is the continuation of the lumbar spine, and we have so not the continuation, but the spine that is below the lumbar spine, and that is right in the center. And then we have the ilium here. So the junction, which is approximately right here for most people, is a joint that sometimes when we're not strong enough through these muscles, or when maybe we have an imbalance, or we have a hip hike, or we have a hip rotation, or we step off a curb and kind of injure it, we can have pain in that area. So what helps this? Strong gluteals around this area are extremely helpful, as well as the core, because what happens when we have the strength there is that it keeps everything kind of like a belt, kind of like a corset, kind of like something snug around. It keeps it from shearing that extra millimeter, which causes a little bit of inflammation, keeps the pressure off that area and the pressure balanced. And so what we do for the SI joint as well is pay attention to the strength through here. And I usually, because if someone's got some acute pain and it's just starting to irritate, I'll usually just show this from the perspective of a sit to stand. So getting up from your chair and standing up. So one last look at the squat that I want you to do. Knees are above feet, hip is hinged back, you're leaning back as though you're downhill skiing, chest is forward, lumbar spine is curved. You have something in front of you if you need it to balance. Otherwise, I want you to stay there for 10 seconds, and as you stay there, try to be evenly distributed with weight on each foot. When you come up, try not to come up like so. Instead, press through your feet so that you straighten through your hips and then through your back. Now this, again, is a squat that is going to keep you out of pain now and into the future as a way to really strengthen this area. Yes, you can do squats slightly differently when you are lifting weight. However, keeping that lumbar spine relatively neutral can be important in offloading those joints and those discs. And if you are someone who's actually tucked under, then these principles still apply to you, because this kind of squat is not healthy through the back. For you, you may need to find a little more curve. If you felt like when I was talking about finding that neutral spine, if you felt completely lost and like that was really difficult for you, then what I recommend you do is find a chair, and in that chair, you will feel a lot more stable and able to practice this. So when I give this as an exercise to people, just to find neutral, I might notice first that they just move through their upper back. And if that's the case for you, have your hands on your hip bones and think about tucking under and rolling forward. And yes, there's a little bit of movement through the upper body, but you'll notice that as you tuck under, belly button comes in. That's mostly a pelvic tilt here. As you come forward, that's mostly in the pelvis there. Stay in a pain-free range as you do this. So I hope this was helpful for you, and I hope that you gain insight into your own body. Please subscribe if you'd like to see more content. I'd love to provide more information that's relevant to you. So in the comments, tell me a little bit about yourself and what you'd like to know more of. My name is Mary Stern. I'm a physiotherapist, and thank you so much for watching.